It was an unusually cold afternoon in downtown New York City. The streets buzzed with the usual chaos, taxis honking, people rushing past, and the dull hum of city life blending into the background. Barron Trump, however, walked slowly, his attention not on the hustle of the city, but on the quiet moment he had carved out for himself. He wasn't on his usual fast-paced agenda. Today was different. He had decided to take a stroll through the more familiar streets, hoping for a bit of peace. As he turned a corner near an old diner, a figure caught his eye. Sitting on the cold, wet sidewalk, bundled in layers of worn-out clothing, a man stared up at the sky. His face was tired, weathered, and his hands trembled in the chill. The man had a cardboard sign in front of him that read, "Anything helps. God bless." Barron hesitated for a moment. He had walked past hundreds of homeless people before, but something about this man, his stillness, his quiet presence, seemed different. The crowd moved around the man, almost as if he didn't exist. Barron's footsteps slowed, and his mind started to churn with thoughts he hadn't expected. He stopped, took a deep breath, and approached the man. "Hey," Barron said softly, his voice cutting through the noise of the city. "Do you need something?" The man looked up, startled, as if he hadn't expected anyone to stop. Barron could see the confusion in his eyes, but also something else, a spark of recognition. The man slowly nodded, but there was something in his gaze that Barron couldn't quite place. "Just $1, if you can spare it," the man muttered, barely audible, his voice cracked from years of hardship. Barron felt a wave of emotion flood over him. This wasn't just a request for money. It was a call for help, for recognition, for someone to see him, even if just for a moment. Barron dug into his pocket and pulled out a crisp dollar bill, handing it to the man with a soft smile. But as he did, he didn't walk away. He stayed, lingering in that small pocket of time where the world seemed to stop, if only briefly. "What's your name?" Barron asked, his curiosity piqued. The man looked up, surprised at the question. "Tom," he replied, his voice hoarse. Barron nodded, a quiet understanding settling over him. There was something in Tom's eyes that told him this moment, this small interaction, might be more significant than either of them could imagine. Barron stood still for a moment, watching Tom tuck the dollar into his coat pocket. But it wasn't just the money that seemed to matter. It was the connection, however brief, that lingered in the air between them. There was an undeniable silence, a weight that hung in the space, as though both of them understood that something profound had just occurred. "Is that all you need?" Barron asked, his voice softer now, more thoughtful. Tom shifted uncomfortably, his hands clutching the worn sleeves of his jacket. "It's enough for today," he replied, but his eyes told a different story, one of longing, not just for money, but for something more. "But what I really need, I don't know. A chance, maybe. A way out." Barron didn't know what drove him to ask next, but he found himself crouching down beside Tom, his knees almost touching the cold pavement. "A chance at what?" Barron inquired, his curiosity now fully engaged. Tom's eyes darkened for a moment, as though he was sorting through years of memories. "A chance to live again. To not wake up every day wondering if this will be the one when I don't make it through. It's hard, you know. The world moves so fast. But I'm just stuck." Barron nodded slowly, his mind racing. He had heard stories about people losing everything, but hearing it from Tom, a man who had clearly fallen so far, made it hit differently. Barron had been born into privilege, a life of opportunity and comfort, but sitting here, next to Tom, he felt something shift inside him. This wasn't just about money. This was about breaking through the isolation and despair that many people lived with every day. "You're not stuck, Tom," Barron said quietly, standing up and offering the man a hand. "I know it feels that way, but there's always a way out, even if it's not clear right now. I don't know how, but I can help. There's a place not far from here. They help people like you. They give you a chance to get back on your feet." Tom blinked, his face a mixture of skepticism and hope. "Help? You sure about that?" Barron took a deep breath, thinking of the resource center he'd supported in the past, the one he knew could provide the kind of assistance Tom needed. "I'm sure. And you don't have to do it alone. I'll make sure they know you're coming. Just trust me. Please." For the first time in a long while, Tom looked up at Barron with something that resembled gratitude. "You don't know me," he muttered, shaking his head. "Why would you do this for me?" Barron smiled, his expression unwavering. "Because I can," he said simply. "And everyone deserves a second chance." The next morning, Barron couldn't shake the thought of Tom's face from his mind. He reflected on how a simple gesture could have such a profound effect on someone's life. Barron had done more than offer money. He'd given Tom something far more valuable: hope. He understood that sometimes people just needed someone to believe in them. He had made sure Tom's appointment at the shelter was set. When Barron arrived at the center later that day, he found Tom sitting in the waiting area, looking uncertain but with a sense of determination. Barron sat down beside him, offering a supportive smile. "You made it," Barron said, his voice calm and reassuring. Tom glanced up, surprised but grateful. "Yeah, I made it." Barron observed quietly as the social workers began helping Tom fill out paperwork, connecting him with job programs, and arranging temporary housing. It wasn't just about the money. Barron had given him the means to rebuild his life. He realized the simple act of being seen and listened to was what Tom truly needed. In a world that often overlooked people like Tom, Barron had offered him a chance to stand tall again. Before leaving, Barron leaned closer to Tom. "This is your opportunity. Keep moving forward, one step at a time." Tom nodded slowly, clearly touched. "I can't believe this is real. I thought people like me were invisible." Barron smiled gently. "You're not invisible. You just need to show up. That's the hardest part." As Barron walked away, he felt a sense of fulfillment, not from recognition, but from knowing he had done something good. The real reward wasn't the praise he'd get. It was the chance he had given Tom to change his life. Weeks passed, and Tom gradually turned his life around. He secured a job, found stable housing, and even reconnected with family. Every now and then, Tom called Barron, updating him on his progress and thanking him for believing in him when no one else had. For Barron, it wasn't just about helping someone in need. It was about understanding that small acts of kindness could create a ripple effect, touching more lives than he ever imagined. His encounter with Tom reminded him that sometimes helping someone see their potential is the greatest gift of all.